All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to Full Stack Web Development for Beginners. So in this video, we're going to talk about web security and more specifically cross-site scripting. And we have at least one vulnerability in our app as it stands right now. So let's pretend we were a malicious user here and let's add a new book to our library. And we'll just say something like ZZ bad book author, ZZ bad book title. And then let's say they wanted to try to inject some JavaScript in here. We'll just do a pop-up for now. So alert, hello site owner, close the script tag. Let's add this book and see what happens. Okay, so it's been added to our library. So far so good. Back to search. Let's search for script. And here it is here, bad book title. And then we see here that we have script, alert, and then script. So right now we're not actually executing this JavaScript because in our handlebar templates, we're telling it to not parse script tags, HTML tags, etc. So we're just printing it out as plain text, which is good. But this also means that in our database, we're storing potential JavaScript, which might come back to hurt us. So the one vulnerability that we do have is if we come here to do a delete book, let's see what happens. Let's just say yes. And look at that. There's our pop-up, hello site owner. This is JavaScript being executed from user input. And that is an example of cross-site scripting. So click OK there. The reason is because we're printing out the book title in this top alert message. And that's why that JavaScript is being executed. So that's not good. Our users could do all kinds of things. Like, for example, let's just say they did it again. Bad book title, script. And instead of doing an alert, let's say that they did a window.location equals, and we'll just go to google.com, right? But they could send our users wherever they wanted to. They could redirect our users to some site that they control. So let's click add book. Let's go back to search. Let's find that book. Here it is, window.location. Now if we delete this book, click yes, and look at that. We got a redirect to google.com. That's really bad. Let's see how we can prevent this kind of thing from happening. Let's come back to our code here. And let's do a Control-C, stop the server, and let's install a new package. So npm I express-sanitizer --save. So install that new package. We'll come back over here to app.js, and then up here at the top, let's do const express sanitizer equals require express sanitizer. So import that, and then down here we'll just do app.use express sanitizer. Save that, and let's come over here to books.js. So in this file, we're doing quite a bit with user input. And I think what we really do need to sanitize is the insert and add book. So if we come over here to the insert book route, here's where we're kind of pulling in the book author and book title. So let's wrap this around with a rec.sanitize, since we can now use that new package we installed. I'm going to copy this because we're going to use it quite a bit. Let's also sanitize the title here. Save that, and let's come down here to update book by ID. Do the same thing to the author and title down here. Surround it all with rec.sanitize, and also the ID up here. Let's just sanitize that as well, just in case. And then come down to our delete book route, and we're already escaping the ID. That's for SQL injection. Inside of the escape is where we're going to want to also do a sanitize. So let's do that. Save the file. Let's come down here and do an npm start. And let's just do a test and see if we're allowed to add script tags now in our title. Okay, so let's go add a book to our library. We'll do ZZ bad book, and then let's do the same thing. Let's do script, alert, hello, close script tag. Let's add this book. Let's go back to search, and we'll do ZZ. Here's our new book, and we don't have our script tag in here. So express sanitizer basically just removed all that script stuff from our title. So now if we delete this book, say yes, we don't get a pop-up. There's no JavaScript being executed. We still get our alert. So now we're kind of protected from that. So that's really it. We just needed to sanitize user input. Let's quickly come back to the code here, and let's go ahead and do a Control-C, and let's just do a git add dot git commit, and just say add XSS protection by sanitizing user input. git push origin master, kind of get that pushed up to GitHub. Alright, so lastly, let's talk about how to get our new web app deployed up onto Heroku. So let's come back over to the browser and let's pull up a new tab and let's just go to Heroku.com. Since I already have a Heroku account, I'm already logged in, I go straight to my dashboard. If you haven't yet, go ahead and create a new account on Heroku.com, and once you're logged in, you should be able to come to your dashboard. And then let's go ahead and click on new, and we'll create a new app. I'll just call this collections-app. It'll say if it's available or not. Click create app. And so now we need to download and install the Heroku CLI. So go ahead and do that. I'll click here to install it. And let's see, Windows 64-bit. Okay, it's going to download. Let's get it installed. Alright, so select components to install Heroku, set path. Yep, that looks good. Click next. See program files Heroku, that's fine. Install. Okay, so this will install it. Alright, so it's finishing up the installation, complete. Go ahead and close. So if we just go back to Heroku.com, it should redirect us to our dashboard. Let's click into our new app we created, Collections app, and then click over here to the Deploy tab, and this will tell us what we need to do here. So we've installed the Heroku CLI, so now we need to go ahead and do a Heroku login. So let's come back down to our app, down to our terminal here, and let's just go ahead and do Heroku login. Okay, so we're getting Heroku command not found. That's because we have not yet added the Heroku bin directory to our environment path variable. So if we pull up where Heroku was installed on our computer, I'm on Windows, so it's going to look something like this. This is program files Heroku client and then the bin directory. I'm just going to copy all this, pull up the environment variable screen to make an edit. Alright, so in here we can do environment variables, path, click edit. Let's add a new one, paste it in there, click OK, OK, OK. Go ahead and just close this. And now I think we need to kill the terminal. So kill the terminal, there should be a little trash can icon to the right. Pull the terminal back up, let's cd back into our directory, and let's try that again. Okay, so it still says command not found. I think we actually have to completely restart Visual Studio Code, kind of a pain in the ass, but so I'm going to go ahead and just close VS Code. I'm just going to go and pull open a regular git bash terminal, and let's just type Heroku. Okay, so it's working now. So I'm going to go back into my library tutorial, and then I'll just do code space and then a period to pull it back open in code. Okay, so we're back. Let's go ahead and close out that other bash terminal. Okay, so we're back down here in our bash terminal. Let's cd back into our directory, and then let's try that again. So Heroku login. Okay, perfect. So now it says press any key to open up the browser to log in. So press any key. Wait a second. Okay, it just automatically pulled open a brand new tab. Click the login button. Okay, so we're logged in. We can now close this page and return to our CLI. So let's go ahead and close that tab. Let's go back to the code here, and we should now be logged in. Perfect. Okay, so let's see what we need to do next. Let's go back open here. Okay, so we're logged in. So create a new Git repository. We don't need to create a new one. We already have a Git repository. So deploy, we're not going to do that yet. Okay, so we have an existing Git repository, so we need to run this down here. Heroku Git remote, and then our app name. So I'm going to copy all this. Come back into the code here, go down to our terminal. Let's just paste that in. Heroku Git remote -a, and then the name of our Heroku app, Collections app. Run that. Okay, so it set to the Heroku remote. Perfect. So now I think we can do a deploy. So then we just need to do git add, git commit, and git push Heroku master. So let's go back to the code. And let's see, do we have anything to commit? Nope, we're good to go. So let's just do git push Heroku master. And it's basically going to kind of run through our package JSON. It's going to install all of our packages. And then it's going to try the npm start script. Okay, build succeeded. All right, so it is deployed to Heroku. So our new web app should be located here, collections-app.herokuapp.com. That's our new web URL. Again, this is not yet going to work because we have not installed a MySQL database. So let's go back to the browser here. And let's scroll up here and let's go to resources. And then over here where we can do a search, let's just type in MySQL. So we're going to use ClearDB MySQL, so click that. And we'll stay on the free plan. Let's just do a provision. Okay, that's going to install a new MySQL database for us. The add-on ClearDB has been installed. Okay, great. Let's go to our settings tab over here. And then if we click reveal config variables, we have our MySQL connection string. Go ahead and copy the whole connection string. Let's go back to the code here. I'm just going to create a new file. Okay, and let's talk about what this connection string kind of looks like. So it should start with MySQL : //, and then you're going to have some string of text here. I'll just call this string1, all right? And then you should have a colon, and then you should have another string of text. I'll call that string2, and then you should have an ampersand, and then I'll call that, some URL. The next thing should be some url.cleardb.net, and then you should have a slash, and then you should have another string of text. I'll call that string3, and then it probably will say something like reconnect equals true. So let's talk about what each of these strings are. So string1 is going to be your username. String2 is going to be your password. Some URL is going to be your host. And string3 is going to be your database name. And now that we have this information, if we remember and pull up our .env file here, we kind of have these environment variables, which our application is relying on to connect to our localhost MySQL database instance. So we're going to do a similar thing, except we're going to create these environment variables up on Heroku.com. So they have a place where you can create these. Let's go back to the browser. Let's pull up our Heroku again. And so same place where we got our connection string from the config variables, we can go ahead and create new config variables, which are environment variables. So the first one we want to create is dbconhost, right? So let's copy that name. Let's paste that in here for the key, and then this will be that URL that we pulled out of this connection string, right? So we can add that. Okay, and then we're going to add another one. It's going to be dbconuser, and this one is going to be that first string. So I'll just put string1 in there. And then we're going to do dbconpw, and this is going to be that second string. So I'll just put string2, and then we'll add one more, and this is going to be dbcondbname, and this will be that third string, string3. Okay, so I've now hidden my config variables, and I did the update to put all my actual database connection string stuff into the environment variables. And now what we need to do is back up our local MySQL database, because it may have some books that we already added into it. We'll do a data dump, and then we're going to get that imported into our Heroku database. And so if you haven't already, you'll need to also add MySQL bin directory to your environment variables on your computer. And so in our path, right, we should also have MySQL shell 8.0/bin. So wherever MySQL installed on your computer, find the MySQL shell bin directory and also get that added to your path variable here. Okay, so next we need to do something in MySQL Workbench. So we're going to need to run a command on each of our tables here. And I just kind of have it copied over here. I'll just paste it in. We're going to need to do something to the tables. So this is for when we go to back up our local database. It's the correct collation type for importing it up into the Heroku database. So let's copy this a few more times, for 5 times. And the other tables were book, language, book location, book subtype, and book type. So go ahead and run those commands. Next, we can come over here to our library database, right click and ensure that that is set as your default schema. So go ahead and click that, and then we can come up here to server, data export, and then click your library over here, and then make sure that you export to a self-contained file. And then we can click this button over here to select a place to save this SQL file on our hard drive. Okay, so I'm just going to do it in my C drive, dev directory, library, data, dump.sql. Go ahead and click start export, and that'll export everything, including all your tables and all the data inside those tables. Okay, so now we should have a new SQL file. So now we can come into our Windows command prompt. This is not git bash. So I'll just expand this out a bit, and then cd into my dev directory, because that's where my data dump SQL file was saved. And then we're going to do a command to get that imported into the Heroku database. So it's going to be a pretty long command here. It's going to be MySQL, then a space, -- host equals, and then that was going to be that URL that was in your Heroku connection string. So it was some URL, right? I'm not going to actually write it out. And then you'll do space -- user, and that was that first string that we had. So I'll just do string 1 space -- password equals, and this is going to be that string 2 that we had. Then we'll do -- reconnect, and then the database name, which was that third string. So put that in there, and then a space, and then we're going to do less than sign, a space, and then the name of our SQL data dump file, which was library data dump.sql. Go ahead and run that, and that should get all of your tables and all your data imported into your Heroku database. I've already ran this, so I'm going to go ahead and just close this out. And now we should be able to go to our new web app. So I'll open up a new tab here, and I'll just do collections-app.herokuapp.com, and there it is. So let's go ahead and click on our books route, and it's getting some data. So it looks like the Heroku database was populated successfully. If I do a search here, I get some other stuff back. Let's just test it on small screens, and there it is. So now this application is live on the internet. We've successfully deployed it to Heroku. And so that's going to do it for this entire video tutorial. I really hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something. I may do a follow-up video series on kind of rebuilding this app on top of SQLize. Instead of writing raw SQL queries in our express routes, which is kind of how we built this app. SQLize is an ORM that kind of sits on top of MySQL, and there are some advantages to using an ORM versus how we built this app with just raw SQL queries. So if there's some interest in rebuilding this app on top of SQLize, I'd like to hear about it in the comments. And other than that, I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and thanks for watching. See ya.